Hey everyone, Random Randy here. This is just going to be a quick little yarn haul video. Well, yarn and acquisitions, I guess, because rather than buying lots of yarn, I've been buying a lot of books lately instead and tools. I've kind of been stocking up on needles because if I'm going to be getting into not only knitting socks but also making things with a finer gauge, like with sock yarn, I need smaller needles, and the smallest needle I had was a US 4 needle. This is Nurgle. I think you've seen my kitty before. He says hello. He's apparently all up in my space because of the on-off storms we're having. So, seriously, dude, I just got Killian to sleep. Finally. He's been fighting it so hard lately. And Hunter is happily working on, excuse me, I still have a little bit of a cough. Hunter is happily coloring in his new Paw Patrol coloring book that we got yesterday at Michael's. So, this is sort of an early happy birthday to me from me present, I guess. I stuck to my guns about not buying more acrylic yarn, aside from the fact that I had to go out and get a skein of something yesterday that I thought I had but actually didn't for an order. So I needed to grab that. Made a run to the store for one skein of yarn. I actually ended up bringing home 2 skeins of yarn, 2 coloring books, and 2 treats for the kids. So all told, I did really, really good. Oh my god, hi. I can't have you in my lap. I can't have you in my lap when I'm holding fibers. I just can't. I can't. You're sweet, but I can't. So give me a few minutes. I'm gonna just boot him out of the room, so he'll probably cry. Give me a minute. Here. Well, go on, kitty. Alright, so 4-legged oldest son is taken care of now. So if you hear like rattling at the door or anything, that'll be Nurgle trying to break down the door to get back in here. So anyway, I was online, and as per the usual, whenever I'm on Facebook, I get advertisements for pretty much any and everything yarn related all the time. So Knit Picks had a Valentine's Day sale. All of their red and pink fibers were on sale. So I grabbed myself a couple of things that have red in them because if you've seen any of my previous podcasts, as you know, red is my favorite color. And I also, because I've been wanting to get into dyeing yarn, bought some of Knit Picks bare fibers in a few of their different product lines, but they're all fingering weight yarn. So I'm going to show that off, and I got a book from them as well, which after looking through it is totally not beginner sock knitter / beginner knitter friendly, but it'll come in handy eventually when I get a little bit better at it. So, box! Alright, first off, let me hide the invoice because as much as I love you all, I don't need anybody stalking me via my actual physical address. So here is the book that I got. It is their Toasty Toes book. It actually has 12 different sock patterns in it, one for each month of the year, and they are very pretty socks. But looking at the pictures and briefly looking at the actual patterns, they are quite complicated and labor-intensive designs. They are, almost all of them have cabling, which I have done before, but not extensively. I'm hoping that from looking at them, maybe I can figure out how to do a heel, at least, because I was initially planning to make my first pair of socks just tube socks, because I mean, it doesn't really get any easier than a tube sock. You increase to the width that you need it to be, then you just keep knitting stockinette in the round up to the top, then you do a cuff and bind off and you're done. That's all you have to do. Might still do that with my first pair, but now that I have enough other sock yarn to play with, I'm probably going to have to research heels, because I know there are a ton of different ones, and I know you can find a bunch of things online, but I've kind of been wanting to have more physical patterns. I'm trying to tech detox a little bit, and my kids too, because we're really, really bad about just leaving the TV on even when they're not watching it, or just letting them play with their Kindles. And I mean, they play games and they watch educational stuff, but they should be playing a little bit more than they are, even though the weather here is garbage. So, pardon the crinkles. There's this big bag of beautiful squishy stuff, and there is nothing in this bag that is completely acrylic. I am so proud of me. So what I ended up getting for the bare fibers that are ready to be dyed, which I'm so excited about, I got one skein of hawthorn, which is one of their fingering weight yarns, and this is 80% superwash fine Highland wool and 20% polyamide, and it's 357 yards. So if I can get it to do a good focus here, you can see the details in the fiber there. And even though all three types that I got are very similar, you can look at them and you can see that the twist on them is different and the fiber content is a little bit different. It's really pretty cool, actually. I'm excited. So there's one. And I actually got two of this. This is their Stroll fingering sock yarn. Do a little close up on the fiber there for you. It's just completely undyed wool. Well, part wool. This is 75% superwash merino wool, 25% nylon, 462 yards, and I got two of them to play with. I'm thinking what I'll do as I'm getting the hang of it is I'll do the first one. I will separate it into probably 4 mini skeins. That way I can kind of play around with striping and stuff, and then maybe do one big semi-solid tonal that'll go with all of the minis that I made, so that I could do toes and heels and then have maybe a mini or two left over for something else. I've been doing a lot of research on how this all works. I'm very much a measure 5 times, cut once type of person when it comes to diving into anything, but I also have the bad habit of not being able to just go into anything part way. Like if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna completely dive in head first. I just need to make sure that the pool is deep enough first. And this, the last bear that I got, is their Chroma Twist, which if you've seen their Chroma yarns, I looked at them and I was like, oh, the fiber content sounds really awesome, and I like how the yarn has a bit of a sheen to it. It has a little bit of gloss, almost. This is 70% superwash wool and 30% nylon. There's the focus. The lighting in here is trash again, so you might not be able to see it very well. But this is 437 yards. I'm so excited to be able to dye yarn. But if you've looked on their website or gotten one of their catalogs ever, I was looking at the Chroma and I didn't really like any of the color combinations that they had. A lot of it was just pastels, and I'm sure that's very pretty to some people. It's just not my thing. All right, where did I just set it down? There it is. Alright, and the last few that I got, these are the red things. So much pretty red. This is a Stroll fingering. This is the Heartfelt tonal. And as you can see, there are a lot of different shades of red in here. Very, very pleased and looking forward to using this one. It actually looks a lot like the Serenity Garden cheapo Deborah Norville sock yarn that I'm using right now for my first pair. But this is 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon, as opposed to all acrylic. This is absolutely gorgeous. This is another stroll fingering. This is hand painted, and this is the sunset colorway. You can see there's a lot of, it looks very autumn to me. There's a lot of rich browns and oranges and yellows and reds, and it's just, I love it. It's so squishy. It's so soft. Can't wait to have it on my feet. And to tie things together, in case I did end up with some minis that didn't quite match up with whatever else I made, I got two small 50 gram, I think. Yeah, two small 50-gram balls of the, sorry, there's fuzz from the box on these. Two 50-gram balls of the stroll fingering in black. And just like all the other stroll, it's 75 superwash merino, 25% nylon. I thought that this would go well together with either of the reds or any of the other things that I end up making. I like having contrast, but I also don't like the contrast to be in such a way that it looks like it clashes. Like if you want to do something outlandish and funky with color, it still needs to kind of mesh a little bit somewhere, you know? Stuff these back in here and hide them until I get the chance to dye them, hopefully. Hopefully this weekend we'll get to try one, because right now, today I'm working on finishing up Hunter's electric orange, yellow, and green hat. I finally got it back on the needles, so hopefully I'll be able to get that finished up this evening. I'm a little more than halfway done with it, so it shouldn't take me too long to finish. So, other acquisitions. I also got a US size 1 40-inch circular from Knit Picks with all of my sock yarn. I've actually looked into getting a set of sock needles, but I'm not sure if I'm going to be that into it yet, so I want to do a few more pairs before I go to the expense of spending like $45 on a 4 needle set, because I'm looking at the Haya Sharps that come in a set of 4. I believe it's a 1, 1.5, 2, and 3. Don't quote me on that because I'm just going from, I've looked at so many things in the past few days, I don't remember. And this I got a little while ago, but I haven't showed it off. This is a Chowgu fixed circular. It's 24-inch circular, and I believe it's a size 2. And they have the really nifty red cable in the middle, which I think is cool. But I want to try out a few different brands before I commit to buying a big set, because as I've mentioned before, my old Knitter's Pride Nova, which they don't even make quite the same anymore. They have it a little bit different now. It's a big interchangeable set that runs size 4 through 10, but I also bought the chunky tips for it, so I have up to size 15, I think, in the interchangeable needles. So there's those, and I already showed you the Knit Picks book. I've gotten a few more books in the last few weeks, so I'm just going to grab those quick. I actually organized my very small knitting and crochet library, which is super exciting because I'm all about being able to actually find things when I'm looking for them. So the first one, which we actually just got the other day when we went out, is Contemporary Celtic Crochet. This is for primarily projects with crochet cables, which is super cool, and I'm excited about that. All of the books were 40% off at Joann's, and I'm all about me saving some money, so couldn't pass that up. I actually got this, which is a knitting book. This is Cast On, Bind Off, which has a whole bunch of ways to start and end your knitting. This has, I do believe, the fabled Chinese waitress cast on, which from only trying a few other ones has become my favorite cast on because you actually do it with a crochet hook. And it's so nice. You don't have to worry about having your excessively long tail that has to be just the right length. When I started knitting, that was the worst part for me, was trying to do a long tail cast on and getting about 10 stitches away from what you needed to have cast on, and then coming to the end of your yarn and having to rip it all off and go another foot or two down the yarn and start all over again. No fun. This is another one that I got. It is I Heart Knitting Tank Tops. And this was also 40% off. It has just some really simple tanks. I've been wanting to make more garments for myself. I'm really good at making hats. I'm okay at making scarves. I'm decent at making mittens, but I'd like to have some actual things to wear that aren't sweaters. I know that sweaters are like the thing that most people aspire to make when they start knitting, is like a really pretty cabled sweater, but I just, even when it's cool, I'm a sleeveless kind of girl, so just tank tops they're my jam. And this was actually really cheap because it was $8 and I think it was 40% off, 30 or 40. And what are the other ones? Oh, and I got these on 2 separate trips because even if I don't do them in cotton, I know that these patterns will be fantastic. This is 60 More Quick Baby Knits, and these same people make a lot of big pattern compilation books, so I thought that getting a couple of them would be a good idea, especially since I have like 6 friends having babies this spring and summer, which is insane. You can keep it. I don't want any more. I've got 2, that's plenty. And this one is 60 Quick Cotton Knits. It has a lot of shawls, it has some tank tops, it has scarves, there's some hats. There are a lot of different techniques in here. That's the main reason that I wanted to get it. More so than just for the patterns themselves, but because there are so many different just skill sets that are required to make some of these things. It's really crazy. Scarf, hat, top. But yeah, here's a lace wrap. Triangular shawl. Lots of really pretty wraps, and for a long time I've kind of been under the impression that wraps are a little old lady thing. But yeah, here's a really cool tank top. Sleeveless, but it has some really neat cables. But I'm coming to realize more and more that I don't know how to dress like a grown-up. I worked at Hot Topic for a really long time, and I just feel that I will fashion-wise perpetually be stuck in my early 20s, which even though I will be 31 this month and 20 really isn't that far away from 30 when you think about it, I'm having trouble adjusting to how to dress. I mean, I look at women who have corporate casual wardrobes for their jobs, and I wouldn't know how to put an outfit together like that. I mean, if it's not jeans and a t-shirt with a hoodie over top or maybe a nice sweater, best I can usually do is a long tunic top with black leggings and my boots. That's about the closest to grown-up dress that I get. I realized that were I ever to have the opportunity to go to, say, a military ball with my husband, I have nothing that I could wear, literally nothing. This isn't me being dramatic and saying, oh, I have nothing to wear. No, seriously, I don't have any dressy clothes. I'm not a getting dolled up kind of person. It's just not my thing. So that ran on a lot longer than I was expecting it to. But hopefully, since there aren't really any people running around making noise or borking dogs, I will be able to edit this fairly quickly and hopefully get it up tonight. So I guess that's it for me for now. That's just, like I said, a little yarn haul video and showing off the books that I've gotten recently. And I hopefully will be doing a video this weekend showing off, you know, normal yarn talk stuff, all of the other things that I've made. I should have a few more things finished. I'm really hoping to finish up my first pair of socks by my birthday, which is now less than 2 weeks away. It's actually closer to 1 week away. Eek. So I'm gonna get back to working on Hunter's hat, and hopefully I will get that done before bedtime so that once the kids go to sleep, I can work on my socks. Be sure to drop this video a like if you enjoyed the content and if you also enjoy squishy things. Be sure to leave a comment. Let me know if there are any questions that you have. I know I kind of breezed through some things pretty quickly. Any comments? If there are any knitting needle brand recommendations that you have, I would love to hear them because I'd like to try out a few other brands before I commit to getting another big set or starting to buy tons and tons of them. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this, and I will see you all next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.